Star Trek Lower Decks' multiverse story ending creates a massive canon problem. Star Trek Lower Decks' series finale creates a multiverse problem in Star Trek canon. Lower Decks came to a close with its 5th season, which sent the USS Cerritos on a mission to investigate quantum fissures to infinite Star Trek timelines. In Star Trek Lower Decks' series ender, Starfleet Command informed the Cerritos that they were the only ship close enough to stabilize the massive wormhole before it destroyed the universe. Captain Carol Freeman, Dawn Lewis, and her crew then beautifully came together to save the day, resulting in the creation of a stable and permanently open portal to various quantum realities. Star Trek Lower Decks Season 5, Episode 9, Fisher Quest, introduced the starship Anaximander and its crew of Star Trek Legacy characters commanded by Captain William Boimler, Jack Quaid. Consisting of T'Pol, Jolene Blalock, Curzon Dax, Fred Tatasciore, Garak, Andrew Robinson, Dr. Julian Bashir, Alexander Siddig, and numerous Harry Kims, Garrett Wang, this crew illustrated how much fun multiverse stories could be. The new permanent rift established during the finale of Star Trek Lower Decks should have massive repercussions for Starfleet and the United Federation of Planets. This would seem to contradict with established Star Trek canon, considering no other show has mentioned such a portal. Star Trek Lower Decks' multiverse gateway doesn't match Star Trek canon. Star Trek Lower Decks delivered an incredibly fun, action-packed finale that nevertheless raises several questions for the greater Star Trek franchise. Star Trek Prodigy and Star Trek Picard both take place after Star Trek Lower Decks, but neither series makes any mention of a portal to infinite dimensions. Star Trek Prodigy even dealt directly with the multiverse and brought back Wesley Crusher, Will Wheaton, as an interdimensional traveler, but he did not reference a portal. The Federation's enemies, like the Romulans and the Borg, would likely go to great lengths to access a door to the multiverse, adding another wrinkle to canon. Of course, the real-world reason the multiverse portal has not been mentioned is because Star Trek Lower Decks Season 5 had not been written yet when Star Trek Picard and Star Trek Prodigy premiered. Still, this new development does raise questions about how Star Trek canon will address such a significant change. Star Trek Strange New Worlds takes place long before the events of Lower Decks, and the upcoming Star Trek Starfleet Academy takes place long after, so it's unlikely either of those shows will address it. Star Trek has no follow-up for Lower Decks' multiverse gateway story, although Star Trek Lower Decks' finale has numerous storylines that could continue. Star Trek currently has no plans for Lower Decks Season 6 or a follow-up. A permanent portal to the multiverse seems like something the franchise would address, but it remains to be seen how, or even if, Star Trek will revisit this storyline. Star Trek Prodigy and Lower Decks Season 5 have already shown how much fun Star Trek can have with the multiverse, and the potential for future stories is limitless. Introducing a gateway to the multiverse provides such an incredible setup for future Star Trek stories, and it would be a shame to waste it. Star Trek Lower Decks has been praised for its humorous take on the Star Trek universe, blending comedy with the well-established lore of the franchise. However, the Season 4 finale's dive into the multiverse creates a thorny issue for canon purists. While the episode undoubtedly entertained, its ending introduces complications that could have far-reaching implications for the greater Star Trek canon. Lower Decks and the multiverse concept. In the episode, the crew of the USS Cerritos is thrust into the multiverse, encountering various versions of themselves, other starships, and timelines. The concept is a staple of science fiction, offering limitless possibilities, and Star Trek itself has touched on alternate realities in series such as The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Discovery. However, Lower Decks takes it a step further, fully embracing the idea of multiple timelines and different versions of the universe colliding in one chaotic adventure. At first glance, this is a fun and innovative way for Lower Decks to engage with Star Trek's vast mythology, poking fun at beloved tropes while adding a comedic spin. From a narrative perspective, the multiverse provides ample material for jokes and references to past Star Trek series. For fans, it's a treasure trove of Easter eggs, with the potential for characters from different eras, realities, and dimensions to appear in the same place. However, by the time the episode reaches its conclusion, the crew returns to their own reality, seemingly unaffected by their journey across multiple universes. And that's where the problem lies. Canon and continuity in Star Trek. Canon has always been a tricky subject in Star Trek, which spans more than 5 decades of TV shows, movies, books, and comics. Keeping everything consistent, especially when dealing with alternate timelines and realities, has been a significant challenge. The Kelvin timeline introduced in J.J. Abrams' 2009 Star Trek reboot was a clear example of how the franchise handled this issue by separating the original timeline, Prime Universe, from the reboot films. Both could coexist without overwriting the established continuity. However, Lower Decks' multiverse story differs from the Kelvin timeline in a crucial way. There's no clear separation. Instead, the show toys with the idea that the multiverse isn't a distinct branch or alternate path, but part of the existing continuity itself. In doing so, it leaves the door open for potential contradictions and confusion. By introducing multiple realities and then returning to the original timeline without any lasting consequences, Lower Decks risks undermining the stakes of the storylines in the broader Star Trek canon. If characters can simply hop between universes without repercussions, it dilutes the impact of pivotal moments in the franchise's history. For example, the emotional weight of Spock's death in The Wrath of Khan or the destruction of the Romulan homeworld in Star Trek. Picard loses some of its gravity if alternate versions of these events are always accessible. The problem with the multiverse ending. The issue comes down to whether Lower Decks intends for this multiverse to exist within the same framework as the rest of Star Trek. If the show is entirely self-contained, it may not matter. Lower Decks could be viewed as a comedic outlier, with its wacky scenarios not affecting the larger canon. But Star Trek is known for its interconnected universe. With characters from Lower Decks already crossing over into live-action shows like Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, it becomes harder to draw the distinction. The multiverse ending also raises the possibility that any storyline, no matter how important, could be undone or altered by the existence of infinite realities. Imagine, for example, if the Next Generation's Best of Both Worlds two-parter, in which Captain Picard is assimilated by the Borg, was revisited in the multiverse. What if there's a universe where Picard was never assimilated, or one where the Federation lost the battle? While alternate reality stories are interesting, they risk lessening the impact of these critical moments in the Prime Universe. Moreover, Lower Decks' reliance on the multiverse could lead to a narrative crutch. Once the floodgates of alternate realities are open, it becomes difficult to rein in the concept. Every plot twist, character death, or world-changing event could be undone by simply hopping to a new universe. The consequences of actions become meaningless if there's always a reset button. Can Star Trek maintain its canon? Lower Decks has always played fast and loose with the traditional tone of Star Trek, but it has, for the most part, respected the franchise's canon. The multiverse ending, however, brings into question whether the show can continue to walk that line. It's possible that future episodes, or even other Star Trek series, could address the implications of the multiverse, perhaps offering a solution to the potential continuity issues. For now, though, the conclusion leaves a significant gap in the canon. What made Star Trek compelling for so long was the idea that actions in one part of the universe could ripple through time and space, affecting everything else. The multiverse, while exciting, threatens to undermine that cohesion. By introducing